Some houses don't hide their secrets. They display them. Frame them. Hang them on the wall like trophies. The house on Wexley Street was one of those. Evelyn Hart stood on the cracked walkway, staring at the old Victorian home that leaned slightly to one side, as if exhausted by decades of watching things it should never have seen. The call had come earlier that afternoon. The photos keep changing. People disappear in them. The voice had been shaky. Older woman. Terrified but trying not to sound insane. Evelyn had heard that tone many times before. She stepped onto the porch. The air shifted, a faint vibration as though the house recognized her. The front door groaned open before she touched it. Inside, the living room was dim but not from lack of light. The shadows simply lingered longer than they should have. Old photographs lined the walls. Frames mismatched. Some crooked. Some pristine. Dozens of them arranged in a pattern that felt intentional. Evelyn approached the nearest one. A family portrait. Mother. Father. Daughter. But something was wrong. The father's face was blurred. Not motion blur, not smudging, but a soft erasure. Like the photograph itself had chosen to forget him. She leaned closer, her breath slowing. Residual stillness. The faint scent of old paper and mildew wrapped around her like a cold whisper. She moved to the next photo. This one showed a man standing in the doorway of the kitchen. He looked tense mid-step. But behind him, a shadow. No figure, just a shadow, elongated, stretching out of place. Evelyn reached out and touched the glass lightly. It was warm. Warmer than the room. Her pulse tightened. She turned toward the staircase. The woman who'd called her, Mrs. Rowan, stood at the top, gripping the railing. "You came," she whispered. "I did." Mrs. Rowan descended slowly, her steps trembling. "They change at night," she said. "Every night the photos are different. Faces vanish. People appear who don't belong. Sometimes I hear breathing." Evelyn glanced at the living room walls. "Who lived here before you?" she asked. Mrs. Rowan swallowed. "A photographer. He died in this house. They said he went mad near the end." Evelyn nodded. The house smelled of chemicals, old developing fluid absorbed into the walls. "Show me the worst one," she said. Mrs. Rowan hesitated before leading her into the dining room. On the far wall hung a single large photograph. A woman sitting on a bed, face tilted, eyes full of fear. Evelyn stepped closer. Her breath hitched. The woman in the photo was her. Same hair. Same coat. Same expression she'd worn the night she approached the house on Birch Lane. Mrs. Rowan's voice shook. "It wasn't like this yesterday." Evelyn leaned closer. Her reflection in the glass overlapped with the image. Double exposure in real time. She whispered to herself, "This is impossible." But the photograph wasn't done revealing. As Evelyn watched, the image darkened. Shadows deepened. The air around her rippled. Her chest tightened. Residual sound seeped out. A faint inhale. Soft, sticky. Coming from behind the frame. Then, a whisper. "Turn around." Evelyn didn't obey immediately. She closed her eyes. Listen. Her memory immersion triggered involuntarily. The room reconstructed in her mind. A camera flashing. A man breathing heavily. A woman crying softly. Footsteps pacing. Someone saying, "Hold still." Then the woman's voice, terrified. "She's coming." A sharp knock sounded from behind the wall. Evelyn's eyes opened. She turned. A thin line of light cut across the floor beneath a closed door. A storage room. She approached it slowly. Mrs. Rowan backed up, shaking her head. "I don't go in there. Ever." Evelyn opened the door. The smell hit first. Chemical, sharp, almost metallic. Inside were dozens of photographs strung up on thin wires, drying in the dark. Faces. Strangers. Eyes staring. Mouths open in silent screams. Bodies half erased. She moved deeper in. Her lantern beam flickered. One photograph caught her attention. She lifted it gently. Her hand began to shake. The photo showed a hallway. Long. Narrow. Familiar. And in the center of it, a woman standing with her back turned. Evelyn's voice cracked. It was her. But this time, the woman in the photo wasn't alone. A shadow stood behind her. Distorted. Featureless. Mrs. Rowan's voice came from the doorway, trembling. He always said the camera sees what the eye refuses to. Evelyn lowered the photo. Something moved behind her. A soft shuffle of feet. She turned just in time to see a blur of motion. A frame falling off the wall in the other room. It shattered loudly. Evelyn rushed back. The photo inside the broken frame was new. Still glossy. Fresh. She leaned down. Her stomach dropped. It was a picture of her standing in the doorway of the storage room. Taken seconds ago. But the most chilling part. A faint silhouette hovered behind her in the image. A woman's silhouette. Face hidden. But Evelyn knew. She felt it in the marrow of her bones. Lydia Marsh. And below the photo in wet ink someone had written, "She's closer than you think." Fade to black.